Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ethlor Plays Go. Today we have another in-person game against Horace, which, luckily to say, he's won. Sorry to spoil the outcome, I suppose. That means that with this game, we'll be going, depending on the next game, he'll either go, what I've decided is if he wins, then he wins 3 times in a row, and then we'll remove 1 stone. He can go down to 6 stones. And if he loses, he'll have had 2 sets of games where he won 2 and then lost 1. And what I'll do in that case is I'll remove half a stone. So that means he'll play with 5.5 points reverse Comey. So that means I start the game with 5.5 points as opposed to Black starting the game with half a point. So this was the game. We'll just jump into it. So we can see that I'm approaching and jumping into the corner, and it seems that we play this very standard Joseki, and I play this Knight's move, and Black plays this Tiger's Mouth. What I want to say is that this move here is basically this is the most common move. Then White will stand up, Black will stand up, White will try and break through, and then connect here. White is alive in the corner, but the life and death isn't super clear. But so your opponents might make mistakes. I think I might make mistakes sometimes. And you can choose how you decide to solidify this position by choosing between A, B, and C, basically. You can play solidly by playing here, or you can play this way instead. Let me just deal with my sound a little bit. It's a bit loud. And yeah. Meanwhile, so you play here instead, then White extends. And what's not so great about this is that White isn't fully enclosed in the corner, whereas in this position they are. Technically, White gets Sente, so then they can play a move like over here. And this is part of, I think, like this move here was shown to us by AI. This was a move that we weren't really considering in the past, but then it became clear that this exchange is useful because then you can make this kind of extension over here. So that's why I'm playing it basically. Instead, Black, okay, fair enough. Black gets Sente instead and gets to play this move instead, which is good. It keeps White separated, so that's all right. And then I move elsewhere on the board, and then we play this. What I might recommend is to play this Atari, and then over here to play this Joseki instead. And the reason why I say this is because at least then it's Joseki and it's something you can play in your even games. Just connecting here is perhaps a little bit timid. It means that later I can think about getting moves. Imagine if I have a move, say I have a move here, then it means I can try and get in here, and this group isn't as strong as you might want it to be. So this is the issue, that Black's not really alive here. I do understand why the other alternative would be to play like this. I understand why Black doesn't want to play like this, because also if White gets moves, then this can also become a little bit thin for Black. White is also thinner, so there's this forcing move here, and then there's this Joseki, which is a little bit confusing. So I understand that these days, if you want to keep it simple, you just play it this way instead, and that's fine. So this is basically the way how everybody plays these days. So, okay. Then I Tanuki because now I have a strong group, and I come back over here because my goal is to try and see if I can weaken this. But I guess this might not have been the best idea for White, because in a handicap game, you don't want to overplay your way to victory. Fundamentally, my groups here aren't strong, so maybe I should try and connect up or play something like this to get a stronger position, make Black weaker indirectly. So that's probably the idea I should pursue instead. So Black plays over here, and then I try and say, hey, Black, you don't have a base. And to Black's credit, they keep me separated. The shape is a bit slow. For instance, if you had, let's say we had 1, 2, 3. I'm not quite sure how to build this position. So what I'm thinking, it's as if Black had a move here already. So let's say it was like this. So here I approach, pincer, this weird counter pincer, and then Black plays 4. 4 is perhaps a little bit slow, but then it's as if Black plays here, which is okay, good, but then you would maybe rather A at either like B, maybe C, D. So it's fine, but it's just a little bit slow. What I want to show is that you can play here instead, the idea is that yes, you want to keep white separated, but here if you keep white surrounded and build the outside, then that's a viable solution as well. So nothing really that wrong with H18. Maybe not shouldn't be the focus of the game, but just to say that there are other options that you have, that either you can like try and press down or press down this way. That fundamentally the issue with this move is that it's low basically. So if white's able to connect up, maybe it's okay in the sense that white gets a base, but black also gets the corner, black gets everything else. So that's okay as well, basically. So we jump out to the center. Yeah, white has two weak groups. And, a part of me was thinking in the game, maybe I'm too thin, but black plays this steady move, and I don't think it's so bad. Because, yeah, okay, white has this thinness, but I think I agree with black that it's best to keep the strength, the shape strong, and then once it really becomes a problem, then to go for it. So we do a little bit more jumping, and here. So what I'm thinking, you might be able to just come out here, because this group is still weak, and you just want to knock it surrounded. This move isn't so bad, but I guess here I try and keep my groups connected. But for instance, like I can play here and surround. Like even if it's not the case that black is going to die, you still don't want to get surrounded anyway. So, and you don't want to live until you have to. So you might as well just take this point instead. That's what I'm thinking. So, okay, I continue with my plan to surround black, and black immediately goes for my weak point, which is very, very good. This is very good direction by black. So I Atari and connect, and then here I try to cut, but it doesn't work because I'm too short on liberties, which is fantastic. I tried to attack black, and they said, hey, white, you're fundamentally not strong enough to attack me, and white collapses, which is wonderful. That's very good. So I then go for the surrounding move, and black then plays again here. And I would say that it was good to attack. It was good to do the counter attack because that's justified. But what I would say is that you should be able to read this. And so here, like, what's the problem really? Is Horace not trusting his reading or something? And the answer is they're not trusting their reading. And I mean, first of all, if you're going to, then at least play this way, because then you can at least capture the stone right away. But somehow Horace doesn't trust that he'll be able to manage the liberties on this group, which is why he comes back and plays this now. So I think this is part of what's holding him back, is that he's aware that there will be weaknesses, and so that's why he wants to try and plug them up so that those weaknesses aren't there. And in a handicap game, that even somewhat makes sense. But the ultimate point is to realize that you need to manage the weaknesses so that they don't become a problem later. And so the real question is how you do that. And so long as you play these really small moves, you won't be asking that question. So that's the reason why I'm okay. Like here, this counterattack was good. Not going straight for the attack was good. Maybe even playing here perhaps a bit slow, but okay, fine. We get cut off. This Atari. Like, is this Atari necessary? Maybe even not. But okay, fine, to make it clear. But it's already very clear at this point. So I think at this point, I would definitely say that this is the kind of move that you want to play less. So this is how I would evaluate it. So okay, I come into the corner again here, and I manage to live, and I take Sente. What I want to mention as well is that, yeah, okay, black can play here to try and connect to this one stone, but black also has other options. They can try and jump out like this, and they can still connect. They can still connect to A later, to A over here. Like black is surrounding this B group over here, and it's still not clear that C is that strong. So all I mean to say is that there are other options. Crawling like this is okay, but just to have it said. So now it comes to the major theme, I think, which is this peep. And what to do about this peep. So in the game, black Tanuki, or doesn't really Tanuki, but just doesn't respond to it and weighs white down, which I think is good, because white also has just one stone here, so that's okay. But what I would say is that there's no reason not to just connect, because it's not clear how black is going to die from here. So, like this move here, yeah, okay, it makes black heavy, but is black really heavy? You know, it's not really clear to me. So, say that we try to play here. I mean, white's group is still pretty weak. You can still play moves like this, and you still have moves like this to try and make an eye. You have your stone in the center. You know, this stone is short on liberties as well. So there's you know, the point, the reason why I bring this up is because this cutting point becomes an issue later, because black never deals with it. So this is what leads to this uncertainty that we have up here. So why is black playing this move? They're playing this because they're aware that later their shape can become thin, and this can lead to disproportionate losses. And they're right and Horace is right to feel that, or to fear this. But the question is, where does this come from? Where are these big issues that then collapse your play coming from? And it comes from leaving weaknesses behind like this. So you can see that with moves like I'm okay. Like, it makes sense that, or even with like here or this, these are moves that are slightly slow, but that we can allow because they're moves that are firm and solid. Whereas here, we're no longer being firm and solid, and this is the issue. The issue then as well is not to focus on your weaknesses too much that you then collapse, like you might have done, but you didn't in the corner. And the reason why you didn't is because you saw white's weaknesses and you went after them. So all this is good. So, okay, I push out and I lean on this group a little bit to make this group a little bit stronger. And black comes over here, and yeah, now it really feels that black is alive. So that has a good base. It's all good. So that I even then Tanuki because I'm too discouraged to attack this shape anymore. But this Aji is still here. So this is the issue, is that the Aji here is left behind. That means I can use it in the fighting later. So this is how Aji works, is that I'm not going to try and exploit this right away, but if there's fighting in this area later, this Aji then becomes valuable for me. So this is how we'll try and use it. So once again, I mentioned that this group can become heavy, so I try and invade here to try and see what happens. And black tries to stay connected, and we play this shape. There's nothing wrong with this. This is completely normal, as you might expect. I get to strengthen this cut over here, which is nice, because there was a cut here before where I might have lost more stones, but now that's stronger than it was. So that's good. And then let's see. Black then plays this group. At this point, it might be good to come back and to fix this, because then it's fixed. I think, like here, it's good that you're, once again, making, like, it's good because it makes the base, and it's also good because it's trying to weaken this group as well. You can imagine that black gets a move later like this, then this group doesn't seem to be fully alive either, so that's okay. But the issue is that it's still leaving this. And if this is a big enough issue that you want to come back eventually, then it shows that you should probably play there right away. So this is why it makes sense that black is trying to be proactive, but in this case, I think it would have made more sense to play a stronger position. So we continue. Black is even able to swallow the stone later, but that's not what happens. So here, black pushes. So I'm immediately looking at the cut here, like this, because I'm immediately sensing the shortage of liberties here. So if we remember our rule of 5 again, we have 3 liberties, we have 4 liberties. So granted, white is still pretty thin, but this is what allows me to be able to get this later. So this is what I'm looking at. But I think to myself, okay, it's probably too easy for black to handle this now, so I won't. I mean, I guess white would get this or here, but at the same time, can black cut? Something like this maybe, but not really, so anyway. So, okay, black pushes and comes back over here, and then I try and take this cut, and black saves their group, and then I can descend, and then black still isn't sensing this. So, maybe that lesson isn't that you should connect at A right away, but definitely, at this point, connect to A. So this is what this is what Horace is fearing, that they don't sense somehow the weakness in their shape, and so that makes them play really defensive moves. And the solution to that is just to sense that weakness and to then connect at the right time. So that timing is definite. If it wasn't earlier, then it's definitely now. So black continues on the attack, and then I push and cut. And then it becomes clear that if they capture, that means I can play this way, and then, but here, what actually does happen? Because here I can't really do much. And then if I come from this direction, then okay, we can play here, we shorten the liberties, and then, but then black has enough to kill. So actually there might not have been an issue here. I didn't realize this on my first pass through, but in explaining it here, yeah. What else? Like, we have only the two directions for Atari, right? And then maybe what can I do if I cut this way first? Well, then black can just connect, and then we have all the same stuff all over again. So it seems that this isn't really working that well. So, okay, maybe don't connect. Maybe this is fine. But yeah, this whole discussion, this is what we're talking about, basically. As in that the question about acknowledging that white is a stronger opponent and then timing how you cover your defenses and which defenses you cover, I think that's really the topic that we're discussing here. And it seems that here, I thought that black should be thicker. Might not necessarily be true, but I guess it depends. Like, it's also a matter of being able to sense this. And the better that you can sense this, the more you won't have to play these really slow moves, basically. This is the discussion that we're having. So, okay, we play some extra moves, and I think at this point, yeah, at this point the game is basically endgame. We might talk more about endgame in games that are more even, but here black is still quite ahead. They didn't lose anything of, substantial. They did lose a few points along the way, but yeah, those are basically the points I would raise for this review. So with that, that's very well done. Horace is doing well at the moment. He's won 2 games. I think he's improving. It's just a matter of thinking about these slow moves. But they're not big enough at the moment for him to lose his games, so okay, fine, not such a big deal. And depending on the next game, he'll either improve by half a stone or by an entire stone. So that's really good. Horace is very clearly thinking about what I'm telling him. He is listening, so that's very good. So that's I guess I don't mean to say that he's listening in the sense of, like, if he wasn't improving, then he's not listening. But I can tell by talking with him that he's taking these videos very much to heart. So I'm sure he'll continue to progress. So that's all well and good, and we'll move on. There's a game that he played against AJ, and so I'll review that game very quickly, and then I'll see you all in a second. All right, so I've taken a look at the game between AJ and Horace, so let's take a look. So we have this opening, and we get a small enclosure, so we got some stones scattered around. I guess what I would say for Horace is that it's a bit strange that he lets black have 3 corners. Obviously, it's a thing you can do, but it's an interesting play. Not bad, but you can do it, but yeah, it's interesting. So, okay, we have this, and then this approach is a bit weird from AJ. I guess it's okay, but I guess it means that we avoid all of this Joseki that you can get here. So normally there's this cut, and then connect, and to be fair, like, the opening that I play these days basically avoids all major Joseki. Not necessarily by intention, I just realize that that's what happens, but I can talk about that another time, but yeah, so I'm not as well versed in these Joseki as I used to be, basically. So, okay, we pincer, we jump out, which makes sense, and we make a base, and then I don't understand this attachment, basically. You just make your opponent's shape stronger. It's a thing you can do, I guess, because you get this strong group, but I guess the point of this attachment is that you're making a strong group, so playing A is an overinvestment, basically. There's no cut here. I guess, like, I guess black is worried about this, and then if we connect, then maybe they can connect out, and then maybe if we play here, maybe there's this issue, but then the stone just gets captured. So yeah, so the point is that black is strong enough. I mean, why not? Because black has attached to white, so the position should be strong. So yeah, I just would say that this is a bit of an over investment, but okay, that's fine. White jumps, and then black peeps. And what I would say to black is, this is something, so white, black, AJ is, at the moment, he's not playing a lot, which is fine, life happens. So I would say that their skill is perhaps a little bit rusty at the moment, but they said that they're also improving. They've gotten back into 10Q, so things are going relatively well at the moment. What I would say is that during this time, and this happens to me as well, is that when you're not playing a lot, you have a tendency to become more aggressive because you're not as good at thinking about all of the weaknesses that are at the board on the board. And so you start, I at least, maybe this is true for other people as well, but at least for me, I start fixating on my opponent's weaknesses and I start like ridiculously overplaying. I wouldn't say that this move is a ridiculous overplay, but at the same time, white invested a move in order to, like, if white plays away now, obviously I think this is an important move. Let's say that we play here, something that's a bit steady, then maybe black can think about attacking this. So as AJ did later in the game, they can think about playing underneath here, which is definitely something to keep in mind, or you can try pressing it down and then building on the outside. So either way, white invests a move, so what makes you think that white is thin? Like it doesn't really. I guess like if you try and make yourself thicker, and I guess white is pincered between the stones, but it's rushing a little bit to me, in my opinion. So here, okay, we get this cut. It's a bit messy around here, and then white connects, black defends, and then here white defends. And what I would say for white is that make sure you keep your access to the center. That's important, because if black, say, what happened, so if instead we play this cut and connect, and black can play this tiger's mouth now to build the outside, and the question for black is whether this cut is meaningful. Does it do anything? Black can easily just push their way out, and maybe there are these forcing moves on the board here, but the issue is that white has only 3 liberties, and black has an eye and has access to the center, while white is weak. So I would say that this cut's not important. It looks to me like this fight is good for black, so if I were black, I would take it. So that's why if I was black, what happens is after they make this exchange, they defend here. So I would, as you can see, for that reason, I wouldn't defend. I would instead try and surround white to try and look to play. Or you can play over here as well, just play it immediately, even if white does eventually get this, and it's a bit annoying. So those are the priorities that I would have. So here, one thing that I didn't mention is that this shape, this Joseki, has a bit of a weakness right here. And the reason why is because if you play this way, and basically if you push, you can try and play a move like this. The issue is that if you try and get this Hane eventually, that this cut, or these cuts I should say, are annoying for black to handle. The issue basically is that black has to continue to extend, and this means that white actually is able to live down here, and black needs to think about how they're living in the corner. To be fair, this explanation isn't enough for you to go do that reliably. I also haven't played this shape in a long time, so I'm not quite as familiar with the ins and outs of it, but I just want to make you aware that this weakness exists. So when white plays over here, actually, it makes this weakness even bigger. So if black plays here, then you can totally go for this right now. So black doesn't, and actually forces white to fix their shape, which, yeah, not amazing. And then we push a couple times and we jump out. And I'd say that on the whole, black's been successful here. They have a group. This thickness, white has been successful. They have this group. Black's thickness out here isn't doing much. And yeah, so I'd say this is okay for white. So black plays this move, and I would say this move is a lot less valuable now, because now we have this group on the board here, and white's alive in the corner. So it's not clear what this move is doing. Black's already more or less alive. Yeah, okay, it connects, but why? Like, why was this move bigger than something like this, or this kick, or whatever else you can be doing on the board? Remember that the value of the move isn't just the move itself, but all the other potential moves you could be doing. So here, white plays some forcing moves. They live, I guess. I'm not sure how, like, was this really necessary? If white plays over here, I guess, well, there's this. At the very least, white can live with Seki, like this. So this is a Seki. But can white do anything more? Perhaps not. So yeah, like this then at least. And yeah, it's Seki. So okay. So, you know, maybe play this exchange and then Tanuki. Because the theory is that on the side, 6 is alive. And so here you have 8. So this exchange is enough for you to then Tanuki, I would say. So, okay, that means that perhaps this is a bit very Ajikeshi, but it's possible, fine. What I would say is at least don't connect here. Because why? Why are you saving the stone? Say we get another move. Once again, this isn't the move I want to play. This is just another move that, like, just something that's a little bit slow, just so we can see what happens if black gets an entire move. Like, we still have this endgame here. So this stone, like, it's only worth 2 points. Like, this group was strong already. There wasn't a lot that you were going to do in the corner anyway. So, yeah, I would say just don't take Gote here. But, okay, now black takes Gote. I'd ask the same question. If white cuts, what's the problem? Not clear to me what the problem is, so yeah, I'd say this is... Both players play a couple of unnecessary moves here. White pushes. I'm not sure why white is pushing, because this group looks to be strong enough already, so why not just do something over here? So, okay, this move is a bit steady, but it's fine. You know, I understand that if you push and then you defend, you know, that makes sense. But also, if the push didn't gain you much, then why would you want to induce yourself to play this move? So that's what I'm thinking. Black plays to remove the base. White Tanuki. I guess it makes sense. White is still relatively strong. And what I would say to black is to not rush. So here you can see that black is just like trying to get this weakness, trying to attack this group, trying to put pressure. I would say to black, just chill out a little bit. To AJ, just calm down. Like, here, you're. It's not that this leads to... I mean, actually, it does lead to you being too thin later, but that is also the risk. Make the strong positions first, basically, and go after the attack once it's clear the attack is there. So here, I think you're just trying a little bit too hard. And the reason why I say that is because, look, if we play this move, we remove black space, and now this is a floating group. So you can't hope to do anything to white while this group is weak. In Go, you need to form a fist first before striking. You need to build the strong positions before you can go on the attack. Like, that's step 1 and step 2. And then the issue for AJ is that he usually does do step 1 and step 2. He does form a fist, but then he doesn't strike. And then when his opponents continue to overplay, he then allows that. That's the problem. The problem isn't forming the fist. The problem is never using your fist. That's the issue. So, okay, we get these moves. White gets this cut. And what I don't understand is that here, the point is that black treats this position lightly. So he says, like, okay, I'm going to make shape. White cuts. Now black insists that he should get both sides. That's absurd, basically. Like, why should you get both sides here? You decided that you would play light. You said, this stone is not important, so I'll treat it lightly. So your plan, then, is if white cuts, to play this way. Get Sente and then Tanuki. But that's not what happens. Instead, you say, okay, well, I'm not going to treat this lightly, and I'm gonna insist that I can keep everything. I not only get to keep this group, but I get to remove the points here. This is such an overplay that when white turns, it just very obviously isn't working. So here, black makes this outside position, and white gains these stones. And I would say that the big reason why is because black is too insisting that they should get everything just like that. Here, I think I said during the club match last night, or when they were reviewing it, that I really liked that black, instead of just responding this way, pushed and then surrounded like this. So that was I liked that. But what I would say is that this pushing makes sense if black is weak. And does black have weak shape? Does that look like weak shape to you? And the answer to me is no. So here, as black, I wouldn't respond. And then if you come over here, like if you continue, then what's the punishment? It's not clear to me what white's trying to follow up on. So black instead places Hane and connects. But I would say, like, what are you afraid of? What's the problem? So that's basically what I would say. And then here, this move, I'm not sure what this is trying to achieve, because is black trying to build in the center? What about this group here? Like, is it not important to stabilize this at some point? If you're going to build, then maybe you should press. But then even if you, like, yeah, so this move seems a bit like, it doesn't have a lot of direction. It's a bit confusing to me. Then, okay, we have some moves. And black takes the corner, finally. And yeah, we have some moves over here. What I would say is just play over here. So this push here, I mean, I guess you can, but you have to come back here anyway. And then from here, it's basically endgame. So here I would also just defend. Like, if you play here and then this push, like, it makes the shape a lot weaker. once again, we'll remember our rule of 5. 3. And then here we have 4. And then here we have 3. And then we have 4. So what I mean to say with all of this is that there are a lot of cuts. So here, what did you get? You left all this weakness behind, and what did you get by trying to play a little bit harder? It's not clear. So just connect. Even a fool connects against a peep. Like just unless there's a really, really good reason not to, and you should read the specific reason, then just connect. So here, okay, white cleans their shape up because they have to. I mean, if they don't, then say we play like here, then there's this weakness that happens later. So then black can't even, and then that cannot even go as far as here. So white loses a lot of points. So once again, pay attention to these shape weaknesses. For Horace, this is important because he's not quite sure why his positions collapse, and this is basically why, because he leaves the weaknesses behind. So, okay, then we get some endgame. The other very quick thing about this endgame is to play here instead, because then you end in Sente, which is good, because then you get double the points by theory. Whereas if you play this way, then you end in Gote, which is not double the points, it's Gote. So don't play Gote, play Sente. That's basically everything to talk about. The issue is that white is like 20 points ahead, and the reason why they're 20 points ahead is because there was this overplay over here, black is trying too hard, and black played this move over here, made all of this strong shape, but then wasn't able to follow up on it. White got this strong group here, and that basically made all of that not worth very much. And then that's basically the entire game. That's basically what happened. So what I would say for black is just to chill out a little bit, and to make sure you make your strong positions first, and then once you have those strong positions, then you can go on the attack. And what I would say for white is basically the same kind of thing, that they leave weaknesses behind, and this is why suddenly their positions collapse. And if they, at least when they're playing against stronger players, and he's not as worried about this when he's playing against even players, it's more about a handicap game, but these are things to become more aware of. Those are all the games that I want to go over today. If you find these reviews interesting, I have a Google form where you can send in your games, and I'll review them, and it'll be very interesting. At the moment, not a lot of people are sending in games, so, you know, that's fine. I am very busy with these club games anyway. It's the reason why I upload 3 times a week. But I think it's informative. It's also useful for me to review other people's games, especially the same players, because then you get a feel for how they play, and that's important for them, and not just for them, but also for me. So that's very great. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next video.